start the story from the very beginning. Oceanic 815 had lost the bearing, 1,000 miles off course, and they didn't even know. Cut to Jack's eye opening, here we go. Wakes up in the jungle, alone and scared. Yellow lab named Vincent just sits and stares, so he decides to get up and go for a walk. And when he heads to the beach, man, he's in for a shock. Smoking debris and people are scared. Someone's having contractions and the name is Claire. Shannon's looking around, screaming for her brother. Ethan Rom just arrived, can't you see he's another? Charlie Pace walking around still high as a kite. Bet you now Hurley wishes that he missed his flight. Kate also was in handcuffs cause she broke the law. Can't forget about the ass-kicking Saeed Chadha. Rose is unconscious and appears to be doomed to enter certified lifeguard by the name of Boone. Trust me, I'm a doctor and my name is Jack. You should seriously consider giving your license back. Sawyer puffing a cig but throws it away before he's done. Michael screaming for Walt, who happens to be his son. And last but not least, we have a marriage in trouble, but even still, Jin searches for son in all this rubble. Now we get to a man named John Locke, who before this flight couldn't even walk. Paralyzed in a wheelchair, living a sad life. No real friends, much money, or a wife. Pushed out a window 8 stories to the ground, he appeared to be dead to everyone around. But a man named Jacob was reading a book, sitting on a park bench with an expecting look. Jacob knew what happens, just a matter of time. I'm sorry this happened to you, Locke appears to be fine. Pushed around the wheelchair by a mysterious man. His name's Matthew Abaddon, and he's got a plan. Convince Mr. Locke to change up his life, go on a walk about with only his wits and his knife. After the crash, we see Locke in the sand, but this is not the same sad, broken man. In that moment, he had lost all his fears, being able to stand after all those years. But he keeps it a secret, no one has to know. Ends up only telling a few people on the show. Everyone takes shelter when it starts to rain, but John Locke stands his ground and remains the same. Something special about Locke, unlike the other folk, especially when it comes to the cloud of black smoke. Everyone's scared when they hear it come and sends them all away, but John Locke's not running. He looked into the eye and saw a beautiful sight. One could even say John Locke saw the light. Every episode we see a character's past through the narrative, which we like to call a flashback. Jack confronts Kate and she says she's sorry. Charlie climbs a mountain and says, where are we? Saeed tortures Sawyer and feels he must go. He takes a leave of absence and discovers Rousseau. She's been living in the jungle for quite some time. Talks about the sickness, might have lost her mind. Locke has found a hatch while he's out on his own. Saeed comes back to camp and says, we're not alone. Seems as if the survivors not the only ones there. Proving when Ethan went and kidnapped Claire. Adam and Eve, ghosts and this hatch. Not to mention Michael's building a raft. Boone looks up to Locke and helps him out with the hatch, which then in turn leads him to the yellow beach craft. Boone climbs up the vine and attempts to look inside, but the weight is shifted forward and Boone eventually dies. It's an important death, cause it is the first, but it also mirrors Kate helping Claire give birth. It's a boy named Aaron, everyone appears safe, but this John Locke fellow seems to be losing his faith. Pounding on the hatch and questioning why, out of nowhere a light shines out to the sky. What could it mean? Who turned on the light? It's about time to get some dynamite. Rousseau appears to the camp with a message standing in the middle of the beach camp wreckage. She explains her past and tells them all the sad story, but it's time to take a trip to the dark territory. Jack, Kate, Hurley, Rousseau, Arts, Locke, all headed on a mission to the Black Rock. They get what they need and their beach camp bound when that huge smoke monster appears from the ground. Drags Locke in a hole and he says it's okay. Jack Shepherd won't have it, Locke lives another day. The raft has sailed and they're on their way, attempting to find a rescue on the 44th day. Sawyer, Walt, Michael and Jin see a blip on the radar, the excitement begins. Hard to see because they're sailing at night. They see a boat in the distance with a big spotlight. It's Mr. Friendly sporting a fake beard. He kidnaps Walt and they disappear. Just Michael and Sawyer with no one around. In the middle of the ocean, Jin can't be found. Back at the hatch, the explosives are ready. Slap the fuse and the dynamite nice and steady. Everyone get back, get prepared. About to light the fuse, but Hurley gets scared. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. Hurley screams, don't light it, but it's too late, dude. Locke lights the fuse, he's ready for what's inside. The hatch explodes and it busts open wide. Jack's a man of science, Locke's a man of faith, but they both came together to keep their group safe. They rush right over in wonder and fear. It took a long time, but we're finally here. They've gotten the hatch open, but at what cost? They stare down in wonder, and that's season 1 of Lost.